Yes, there are inspectors who have rejected jobs based on 110.12. This section of the National Electrical Code allows inspectors to reject work that is not installed in a workmanlike manner, even if it meets the minimum requirements of the code. Inspectors are more likely to reject jobs based on 110.12 if the installation is sloppy or poses a safety hazard. Yes, there are contractors who have had inspectors reject their jobs with 110.12 as the basis for disapproval. This is most likely to happen if the installation is sloppy or poses a safety hazard. Contractors can avoid having their jobs rejected by making sure that their installations are neat and workmanlike. Examples of work that has been rejected under 110.12 include electrical panels that are not properly secured or have loose wires, wiring that is not properly supported or protected, outlet boxes that are not properly installed or have loose wires, switches that are not properly installed or have loose wires, and fixtures that are not properly installed or have loose wires. It is important to note that 110.12 is a subjective section of the National Electrical Code. This means that inspectors have some discretion in how they apply it. However, inspectors are generally required to provide a reason for their decisions. If you are a contractor who has had a job rejected under 110.12, you may be able to appeal the decision. You will need to provide evidence to support your claim that the installation was done in a workmanlike manner. Now let's delve deeper into the specifics of 110.12 and what constitutes a workmanlike manner. The National Electrical Code doesn't provide a definitive checklist, which is why it is considered subjective. However, the industry generally understands it to mean that the installation should be neat, clean, and professional in appearance. This includes ensuring that all components are properly aligned, secured, and supported, and that wiring is routed and bundled in an organized fashion. Factors that might lead an inspector to cite 110.12 include, firstly, loose or dangling wires. All conductors should be securely fastened and supported to prevent them from becoming damaged or creating a safety hazard. Secondly, improper box fill. Overcrowding conductors in electrical boxes can lead to overheating and insulation damage. The National Electrical Code specifies the maximum number of conductors allowed in boxes of various sizes. Thirdly, mismatched or damaged equipment. Using components that are not rated for the intended application or that are damaged can compromise the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Fourthly, missing or improperly installed hardware. This includes things like cover plates, strain reliefs, and bonding jumpers. Fifthly, sloppy or unprofessional appearance. While aesthetics are not the primary concern, a visibly disorganized or carelessly executed installation can raise concerns about the quality of the workmanship. To avoid 110.12 violations, contractors should implement quality control measures throughout the installation process. This includes training employees on proper installation techniques, conducting regular inspections to identify and correct any deficiencies, and using high-quality materials and equipment. When an inspector cites 110.12, it's important to understand the specific reasons for the rejection. Ask the inspector to clearly explain what aspects of the installation are not considered workmanlike and what corrective actions are required. If you disagree with the inspector's assessment, you have the right to appeal the decision. The appeals process typically involves submitting a written request to the local building department or electrical authority, along with supporting documentation such as photographs or diagrams. Be prepared to explain why you believe the installation meets the requirements of the National Electrical Code and demonstrate that it is safe and reliable. Remember, the goal of 110.12 is to ensure that electrical installations are not only code compliant but also safe, reliable, and aesthetically pleasing. By paying attention to detail and adhering to industry best practices, contractors can minimize the risk of 110.12 violations and maintain a reputation for quality workmanship. In addition to the examples already mentioned, there are other scenarios where 110.12 might be invoked. For example, consider situations involving conduit installations. If conduit runs are not properly supported, are excessively long without intermediate support, or are bent in a way that restricts wire pulling, an inspector might cite 110.12. Similarly, improper grounding and bonding can also lead to rejection. Grounding and bonding are critical for safety, and any deficiencies in these areas will likely be flagged by an inspector. This includes things like using the wrong size grounding conductors, failing to properly bond metal enclosures, or having loose or corroded connections. Another area of concern is labeling and identification. The National Electrical Code requires that electrical equipment be properly labeled to identify its purpose and voltage. Missing or incorrect labels can create confusion and increase the risk of accidents. Inspectors may also look for evidence of good housekeeping practices. This includes keeping work areas clean and free of debris, properly disposing of waste materials, and protecting equipment from damage during construction. A clean and organized work site demonstrates professionalism and attention to detail, which can help to avoid 110.12 violations. When selecting electrical equipment, be sure to choose products that are listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories or ETL Semcor. Listed equipment has been tested and certified to meet applicable safety standards. Using unlisted equipment can void warranties and create a safety hazard. In addition to following the National Electrical Code, it's also important to be aware of any local amendments or interpretations. Some jurisdictions may have more stringent requirements than the National Electrical Code, so it's essential to check with the local building department or electrical authority to ensure compliance. Continuing education is also crucial for staying up to date on the latest code changes and industry best practices. Attend seminars, workshops, and training courses to enhance your knowledge and skills. This will not only help you avoid code violations but also improve the quality of your work. When working on older buildings, be especially careful to identify and address any existing electrical hazards. Older wiring may be deteriorated or undersized, and the grounding system may be inadequate. It's important to bring these systems up to code to ensure the safety of the occupants. Before starting any electrical work, always obtain the necessary permits and approvals. This ensures that the installation will be inspected and that it meets all applicable codes and regulations. Working without a permit can result in fines, delays, and even legal action. During the inspection process, be cooperative and professional. Treat the inspector with respect and answer any questions they may have honestly and completely. If you disagree with the inspector's findings, remain calm and explain your position clearly and respectfully. Remember, the inspector's job is to ensure the safety of the electrical system, and they are not trying to be difficult. By working together, you can resolve any issues and ensure that the installation is compliant and safe. To further elaborate on the appeal process, it's important to understand the specific procedures in your jurisdiction. The first step is usually to submit a written appeal to the local building department or electrical authority. The appeal should clearly state the reasons why you believe the inspector's decision was incorrect, and it should include any supporting documentation such as photographs, diagrams, or product specifications. In some cases, you may be required to attend a hearing before an appeals board. At the hearing, you will have the opportunity to present your case and answer any questions from the board members. The board will then make a decision based on the evidence presented. If you are not satisfied with the decision of the local appeals board, you may have the option to appeal to a higher authority such as the state electrical board or a court of law. However, this is typically a more complex and expensive process. Throughout the appeals process, it's important to remain professional and respectful. Avoid making personal attacks or using inflammatory language. Focus on the facts and present your case in a clear and concise manner. It's also a good idea to consult with an attorney or electrical code expert to get advice on how to proceed with your appeal. They can help you understand your rights and obligations and ensure that you are presenting the strongest possible case. Even if you are successful in your appeal, it's important to learn from the experience. Take the time to understand why the inspector rejected your work and what you can do to avoid similar issues in the future. This will help you improve the quality of your work and maintain a good working relationship with inspectors. Remember, the goal of electrical inspections is to ensure the safety of the public. By working together with inspectors and adhering to the National Electrical Code, you can help create a safer and more reliable electrical system for everyone. In addition to the technical aspects of 110.12, there's also a human element to consider. Inspectors are people, and they may have different interpretations of the code. It's important to build positive relationships with inspectors and to communicate effectively with them. When you have questions about the code, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. Inspectors are usually willing to provide guidance and help you understand the requirements. It's also a good idea to invite inspectors to visit your job sites early in the construction process. This allows them to see the work as it progresses and to identify any potential issues before they become major problems. By involving inspectors early on, you can avoid costly rework and delays. When you receive an inspection report, review it carefully and address any deficiencies promptly. If you disagree with any of the findings, discuss them with the inspector and try to reach a mutually agreeable solution. If you're unable to resolve the issue, you can always appeal the decision. Remember, the goal is to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant. By working together with inspectors and communicating effectively, you can achieve this goal and build a strong reputation for quality workmanship. Furthermore, consider the impact of new technologies and materials on the interpretation of 110.12. As the electrical industry evolves, new products and installation methods are constantly being introduced. Inspectors may need to adapt their understanding of the code to accommodate these changes. It's important to stay informed about these developments and to be prepared to discuss them with inspectors. For example, the increasing use of solid-state lighting, such as light-emitting diodes, has raised questions about heat dissipation and wiring methods. Inspectors may want to see that light-emitting diode fixtures are properly installed and that the wiring is adequately sized to handle the load. Similarly, the growing popularity of electric vehicle charging stations has created new challenges for electrical installations. Inspectors may need to verify that the charging stations are properly grounded and bonded and that the wiring is protected from overcurrents. As new technologies emerge, it's important to stay ahead of the curve and to be prepared to address any concerns that inspectors may have. This will help you avoid delays and ensure that your installations are compliant with the latest codes and standards. In conclusion, Section 110.12 of the National Electrical Code is a subjective but important requirement that ensures electrical installations are performed in a workmanlike manner. While it allows inspectors some discretion, it also provides contractors an opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to quality and safety. By understanding the principles behind 110.12, implementing quality control measures, maintaining open communication with inspectors, and staying updated with industry best practices, contractors can minimize the risk of rejections and contribute to a safer electrical environment. Remember that the ultimate goal is to provide safe, reliable, and aesthetically pleasing electrical installations that meet the needs of the end users. By striving for excellence in workmanship, contractors can build trust with their clients and establish a reputation for quality that will serve them well in the long run. And finally, always remember that safety is paramount. Electrical work can be dangerous, so it's essential to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, follow safe work practices, and never work on energized equipment unless you are properly trained and qualified. By prioritizing safety, you can ensure that your electrical installations are not only compliant with the National Electrical Code but also protect the health and well-being of everyone involved.